2025 in reading for me has been a big year, as you can see. Next one is a short book. I would personally call it a novella. I think it has 100 pages. Yeah, 155. Of Mice and Men. It's the first time I am reading this author and I liked it a lot. It was a very easy read. You fall in love with the characters. This is a drama. It's a drama about two friends. One of them is, very tall and not very smart, and the other one is not tall at all and smart. And his friend, the big guy, looks up to him like a father, but he cannot control himself. That's how the story builds. It's very sad, but I appreciate reading it and I liked it very much. It's a 3 out of 5 stars for me because I wanted a bit more from the story, and I think I was a bit annoyed with the ending. Even though I appreciated it, I was a bit annoyed with it. I knew that it was going into that direction, but I wished for it not to go into that direction. The next one is a Romanian book. As far as I know, it doesn't have a translation, but it would translate as Confession at Tanacu Monastery. I'm sure you know about this case. This is a real case, and the book was written after it happened. And there were also 2 movies that were done based on this book. One of them is a horror movie, which is The Crucifixion from 2017. It doesn't follow very much the story, and the other one is Romanian, and that one follows the story. It's not very horror, but you can watch it on YouTube. This one is about a girl who goes to this monastery, and while being there, the church, the monastery, thinks she is being possessed by a demon. I'm saying things because I don't want to give you spoilers, but if you read about the story, there are a lot of stories where the church thinks you're being possessed by a demon and you actually just have mental health issues. And it's a very sad story. This is more like a documentary, and I expected a bit more of it because I knew the story, I knew the movies. I thought it would give a bit more insight, and it did give insight, but I wanted a bit more. So this book was only a 2 out of 5 stars for me. Eliza and Her Monsters. When I got this book, I knew that I would like it. I was wrong. I appreciated it, but I didn't like it very much. I liked that it had a lot of art inside of it, and let me show you. So it had art like this, and there were a lot of chapters when you could see conversations just like you would have on Facebook. It's something like this, and I liked that bit of it a lot. However, there were times when I felt like maybe I would have appreciated this book more if I would have read it when I was 14 or 15. I wanted to like it. It took me maybe a month to finish it, and unfortunately it was only a 2 out of 5 stars for me. Kris Jenner and All Things Kardashian. I'm a big Kardashian fan, and I've been since I was 13. I don't judge them, I like them, I appreciate them. I watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I even paid for a separate subscription on some streaming channel just so I can watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians because we don't have Hulu here. And I'm still paying for it because I'm rewatching it. And I also watched The Kardashians apart from the last 2 seasons on Disney. And Kris Jenner is someone that you cannot not appreciate. I mean, what she did was to turn her daughters into millionaires and billionaires. So I was very curious to read about her book because it was talked about it in the series, in Keeping Up with the Kardashians, in the reality show. And I was, very curious to see what's being written here. And I loved it. I'm going to be honest. I loved every bit of it. The only thing that I would have changed was the fact that it was very much focused on the O.J. Simpson's trial. And I understand why she did that, especially because she did not think that O.J. was not guilty. But I would have preferred to see a bit more insight on their family after they became very famous, which didn't really happen. And I respect that. She wanted some kind of privacy, even though we see almost everything on TV. But even though she didn't basically write it, it's very well written, and I don't really understand the hate for it. I mean, it's probably hated because people usually hate the Kardashians. I don't, and I love this book. And I gave it 3 stars out of 5. I couldn't give it more. But yeah, 3 stars. The Chandler House of Parma. This book is the only one from 2025 that I did not finish, that I could not finish. I usually love classics, and I'm a big fan of classics. I've read plenty of classics to know that, reading a classic could take you maybe even 2 months. And unfortunately, with this book, being my first encounter with this author, I expected maybe too much. Similar to Rebecca, there was an Italian miniseries on TV that I watched when I was 9 years old or something like that, and I liked it very much. And then in 2015, 2016, I found out that there was a book as well. I got this book a few years ago, and seeing that it's a big book, I think it has like 600 pages, almost 600 pages, I needed to take my time with it. And when I finally found, what it took to read this book, I was disappointed. I mean, it's obviously an old book, and the language that is being used is very hard and difficult to follow, but I like that because I can get to learn old and poshy words. That wasn't my issue with it. My issue was that, similar to The Scarlet Letter, if you've read it, you can't really follow the action. It doesn't really have an action. You need to follow the characters' thoughts, which are very different, were very different back then to how they are now. And you can't really know when the frames change. Right now you could be today, and after 2 words you could be after a week, and you need to find that out by yourself, and it's not very clear, and that was very tiring for me. It didn't feel like I could follow the storyline, even though I liked the storyline, or at least my interpretation of it, because I think it's a book that you need to interpret. It's not a book, in my opinion, that you can read from head to toe and understand it 100%. So yeah, unfortunately, I read 217 pages. From what I read, it was a 2 out of 5 stars for me. Next one is Broken Country. This was one of the best books from 2025 that I read. It was also published in 2025, and having growing up at the countryside in the summers when I was small, when I was little, I understood a lot of things maybe better, and I appreciated them a lot. And it's written in such a way that it feels like you're eating honey. That's how I would describe it best. I liked the action a lot, the characters. I think even the ending, to be honest, I don't remember if I liked the ending, but given the fact that I gave it 3 stars, 3.5 stars, I think I liked it, but I wanted something more. And that more was probably the fact that sometimes when you got to a point where you thought you understood the character or what the character wanted to say, there was a sudden change of everything. You were going into a different perspective. That different perspective was either too short or too long, and then you were not going back to where you were left. You were going back maybe in the past, and you had to wait a lot for picking up from the place you were left. And it's not that type of book which is like a thriller, and you cannot put down because you need to know what's going to happen next. This is the book which needs its time. You need to take your time when you read this book, and I took my time, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I appreciated it a lot. I liked it a lot, so 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now let's get to the good stuff. The Fourth Wing. I love dragons, so if you like dragons, it would be impossible for you not to love this book. It has a little bit of Game of Thrones, it has a little bit of Divergent, it has a little bit of Harry Potter even. It also has some spicy parts, which in my opinion could have been left out. 5 out of 5 stars. And it wasn't my favorite 2025 book, but it was my second favorite. And I haven't read yet the second and the third books, but I definitely will. I read that they're not as good as the first one is, but now finding out that the rights have been sold to Prime for a TV adaptation, I'm a bit disappointed that they weren't sold to HBO, but it's fine. I'm sure that they will do an exquisite job, an amazing job, and I cannot wait to see it on screen as well, seeing what I imagined while reading this book, because some parts, this book was made for TV. Some parts, were described a bit difficult, at least for my imagination. Maybe your imagination is much more richer than mine, but I could only imagine that being done properly on TV. Next book is Alchemized. This was my favorite 2025 book, and I'm never that type of person who is like, oh, there's this book that everyone's talking about, let me get it. But I don't even know what happened this time. I didn't read anything about it. I just knew that it's actually Manacled, which I've been wanting to read for a long time, but I couldn't put my hands on it yet, and I'm glad I didn't, because I got the chance to read this, and I will call it a masterpiece, because after reading so many books, not a lot of them did to me what this one did. And I will talk more about this book in a different review. I want to take my time and describe everything I felt, all my emotions while reading this book, especially that it has 1,000 pages. I read it in 2 weeks and a few days. I could not put it down, and I could not wait to get home from work and take my time and read this. Just look at it. Apart from the fact that it's a gorgeous book, what's inside it is mind-blowing. Last book of 2025 is 1Q84. I've read books from Murakami. I've read, I think, 2 or 3 other books from him. And what I will say is that after reading the second volume as well, because this is the first volume, I still haven't read the third. I needed a break. The first volume didn't seem to be needed, in my opinion. The action only grows from the second volume. And I think the first, it has 450 pages. The first 200 pages, you have no idea what's going on. You think something is going to happen, but it doesn't. It's always between these 2 characters, which I will not say if they're linked or not, but it's always 2 different point of views. And whenever something finally happens in one point of view, the chapter finishes, which is very long. So all the chapters I think have between 30 and 50 pages. Well, these are small pages, so maybe in different editions they're less pages. But after reading the second one and loving the second one, I came up to the conclusion that this book was not needed to be this big. It could have been 150 pages, maximum 200 pages, to introduce you to the story and to the background of the characters, because it's a very complex story, and I'm sure that I will understand more and appreciate it more after I will read the third volume. I liked it still, because the last, I think, 70-80 pages made for the other 300 and something pages. So it was a 3 stars for me. To be honest, while reading it, I thought it would be maybe a 1 or 2 stars, but after finishing it, I decided to give this one 3 stars, because I liked the way it ended and what you're finding out while reading it. So yes, not his best book, but I'm sure that I will be able to say more and, judge it more after I will finish the 3 volumes. Now, of course, it will not come up as a surprise that these were my favorites from 2025, which are Salem's Lot, which are Summer I Turned Pretty, 2nd and 3rd volumes, The Fourth Wing, of course, and the top 1 favorite, Alchemized. If you haven't read Alchemized, you need to do it.